Good morning to all of you. Today's lecture is on muscle spindle. In the last lecture, we have seen ascending tracts, which is also called a pathway, and spinothalamic tract. Now here we are going to start with the muscle spindle, which contain both ascending, that is receptor also, and also the effector organ for the muscle. Okay. So we are going to cover in the today's lecture, that is a motor unit, muscle sensor, muscle spindle, and its functions, structure and functions. So let us see what is meant by muscle spindle. You know that each muscle consisting of different groups of muscle fiber. Okay. So suppose here you can see that this is a skeletal muscle consisting of different group of muscle fiber, and that group of muscle fiber is called as single group, is called as fascicle. Okay, so this is a fascicle, and each fascicle contain different muscle fibers. Okay, so the fibers, muscle fiber, then fascicle, and then individual muscle. So each muscle fiber made up of different group of fascicle and containing the muscle fiber. So this fascicle is covering is called as endomysium. Okay, the fascicle covering is called as endomysium. Then this, the individual muscle fiber covering is called as endomysium, while fascicle covering is called as perimysium. Okay, and whole muscle covering, that is all fascicles covering, number of fascicles covering is called as epimysium. Okay, so the endomysium, perimysium, fascicle, then epimysium. Okay, so these are the covering of or structure of the muscle. And what do you mean by motor unit? It is nothing but the single motor neuron and the muscle fiber that it innervates. So suppose in this example, this is a group of muscle fiber. You know that muscle is made up of different group of muscle fiber. Suppose these are some muscle fibers, and that muscle fibers is supplied by this motor neuron. Okay, so this particular thing is called as motor unit, the group of muscle fiber supplied by single individual neuron, that is called as motor unit. Now this motor unit again divided into depending on how many neurons or how many muscle fibers that neuron innervate. Depending on that, we have small motor units and large motor units. Small means when that motor neuron supplied to the 10 muscle fibers, that is 10 fibers per unit. Okay, while large motor units is nothing but the 1000 fibers as or more than 1000 fibers per unit. It is called as large motor units. Examples of small motor units, that means the muscle fibers which are present in the laryngeal muscles and extraocular muscles. In that muscle fibers, they are called as small motor units because of small motor units, function is it helpful for precise control and rapid reacting of that particular muscle fibers. Okay. Then large motor units like quadriceps muscles, thigh muscles, it have coarse control and slow reacting. That is a large motor units. Then what is mean by neuronal pull? Suppose, for example, bicep is a skeletal muscle. That skeletal muscle, bicep, is supplied by C5 and C6. C5, that means the nerve arising from the cervical vertebra 5 and cervical vertebra 6. Okay. So whole muscle is supplied by number of neuron, and that thing is called as neuronal pull. That means suppose bicep is a skeletal muscle supplied by C5, C6. So whole muscle with C5 and C6 neuron, that is called as neuronal pull. So one single muscle is supplied by how many types of neuron? That is called as neuronal pull. So there is a difference between the neuronal pull and motor unit. Motor unit nothing but the that single muscle is made up of number of nerve fibers. And individual muscle fiber is supplied by one motor neuron that is called as motor unit, while whole muscle fiber is supplied by number of neuron that is called as neuronal pool. Now suppose in this example there are two neuron, okay, so that two neuron, that means there are two motor unit here in this diagram. One neuron supplied the number of muscle fiber, and the another neuron supplied by the three group of muscle fibers. And whole this is muscle with two neuron that is called as neuronal pool. Okay, so that means neuronal pool there may be one motor unit, two motor unit, three motor units, depending on how many type of neuron supplied by that supplied to that particular muscle fibers. Okay. So coming to the muscle sensor, this muscle sensor is also called as proprioceptors, which gives information about the proprioception. What means proprioception? That means it gives information about change in position of different parts of body in space. So, for example, if you move the subject's finger or hand, as the subject first closed eyes and then you move the subject's fingers or hand, person can perceive the movements. Okay, that is perception of joint movements, muscle movement, tendons of the muscles. These are pursued because of proprioceptors, muscle sensors. Okay, receptor present over in the muscle that is called as muscle sensor. Okay, then what are the different muscle sensors present in our muscle? That is muscle spindle, Golgi tendon, Pacinian corpuscle, and free nerve ending. These are the different muscle sensor. Out of that, muscle spindle is most important, which give information about the change in the muscle length. And muscle spindle is the only receptor where there is a both receptor also and the efferent, that is effector organ. Okay, so receptor plus effector organ. This is the function of the muscle spindle. So let us see one by one. First, we will see the muscle spindle. Muscle spindle, it is also called as stress receptor, and its function is proprioceptor. Okay, that means it gives information about the change in the muscle length, or it gives information about the joint movement or positions. So what is the structure of the muscle spindle? Each muscle spindle is made up of small group of muscle fiber, and that is called as intrafusal fibers. Intrafusal fibers. These fibers are encapsulated and containing the fluid. Now, what is the structure of this muscle spindle, or what is the arrangement of this intrafusal fibers? They are arranged in between the extrafusal fibers. That means in between the intrafusal fibers, or there is some extrafusal fibers are there. That is, they are arranged in a parallel way. I will show in the diagram. Now just see these three arrows. This is one muscle, skeletal muscle, it having extrafusal fibers, intrafusal fibers, and the fluid containing inside the intrafusal fibers. So you can see that these are the intrafusal fibers which are arranged in parallel to the extrafusal fibers. And these intrafusal fibers contain fluid. Okay, that is ICF, intracellular fluid. So muscle spindle is made up of intrafusal fibers surrounding the extrafusal fibers and containing the fluid. So these are the structure of the intrafusal fiber, muscle spindle. Now in the intrafusal fibers, now what are the individual intrafusal fibers? What are the structure of the individual intrafusal fibers? The central portion, it is non-contractile. It doesn't contain the actin and myosin. That's why it is called as non-contractile component. While peripheral component, that is a contractile component, they are striated. I will show you in the diagram. So this is two types of intrafusal fibers. There are two types of intrafusal fibers. One is called as nuclear bag fiber. The first one is nuclear bag. This is a nuclear chain. Now why it is called as nuclear bag fiber? Because the central portion of that nuclear bag fiber, the nuclei is arranged in like a bunch. And that's why that is called as nuclear bag fiber. While nuclear chain fiber, the nuclei are arranged in a sequence, one by one. And that's why it is like a chain. That's what is called as nuclear chain fiber. Okay, so the intrafusal fibers having two components. One is called as non-contractile. So this is a non-contractile component, central one. This is non-contractile, while peripheral, there is a contractile components. So why it is called non-contractile component central? Because there is no actin and myosin. While a striated component, they contain actin and myosin. That's what is called as contractile components. Okay. So central part is sensory portion. That means the intrafusal fibers, the non-contractile component, where there is a receptors are present. That is called as sensory component, sensory portion. While stretching of the polar, that is peripheral striated part of the intrafusal fibers, causes the stretching of this central portion. That means it gives stimulus, it causes the stimulation of the central components because of. So when there is a, as I have told you that the central component is receptor component, that is non-contractile component. Okay, and this peripheral component is contractile component. It contains the actin and myosin. So whenever there is a contraction or stretching of these peripheral components, it will stimulate these non-contractile or sensory components of intrafusal fibers. Okay, so the intrafusal fibers made up of two group of fiber. One is called as nuclear bag fiber, and second is called as nuclear chain fiber. Nuclei are arranged in a bag. That's what is called as nuclear bag fiber. And while nuclei are arranged in a chain, that's what is called as nuclear chain fiber. So the function of the central component is it acts as a sensory. It gives when it stimulates, when there is a stretching, when there's a contraction of these peripheral components, contractile components of the nuclear bag and nuclear chain fiber. Okay, so the nuclear bag, just I have told that nuclear bag fiber, the nuclei in each muscle spindle, in each intrafusal fiber, around 2 to 5 nuclear bag fibers are there, while around 6 to 10 nuclear chain fibers are there in individual single intrafusal fiber. Okay. Many nuclei are arranged in a group in a congregated manner in a, like an expanded bag. That's what is called a nuclear bag fiber. Nuclear chain fiber, nuclei are arranged in a chain. That's why it is called as nuclear chain fiber. Now, what is the nerve supply of this muscle spindle intrafusal fiber? That is both extrafusal fibers and the intrafusal fiber. It is innervated by both sensory and motor nerve fiber. So muscle spindle is the only receptor in our body which is having both, that is sensory also and the motor components also. Again, to summarize, you should know the different nerve group or types of nerve fiber. In today's lecture, we require A alpha, A beta, and A gamma fiber. Okay, so A alpha is, it receives the signal of proprioceptions from the somatic motor, then Golgi tendon organ. A beta is for touch, pressure, and motor functions. A gamma is for motor to the muscle spindle, while C fiber is for pain, temperature, pain in the Golgi tendon or the muscle. Again, as you know that there are two classification of the nerve fibers. One is called numerical classification, and this is depending on conduction velocity, depending on diameter and conduction velocity. And here numerical classification, group 1A, group 1B, group 2 fiber, group 3 fiber, group 4 fiber. So group 1A and group 1B, this is a muscle spindle and Golgi tendon organ. Again, group 2 is muscle spindle. So I will show in the diagram what are the different types of muscle spindle, or what are the different nerve supply of the muscle spindle group. What is the role of group 1A, group 1B, and group 2 fiber? You just remember that this group 1A, group 1B, and group 2, these are connected with this muscle spindle Golgi tendon. So let us see the nerve supply of the muscle spindle. The muscle spindle is made up of intrafusal fibers surrounding the extrafusal fiber. In turn, intrafusal fiber are made up of nuclear bag fiber and the nuclear chain fiber. As you know that the nuclear bag and nuclear chain fibers, the central portion is non-contractile. It is also called as sensory components, receptor components. That means it have a sensory nerve. That is a receptor. That's why they have a sensory nerve. So what are the different sensory nerve for the nuclear bag and nuclear chain fiber? That is called as group 1A fiber. Group 1A fiber. It is also called as annulospiral ending. Now, why it is called as annulospiral ending? As these nerve fibers are literally wind up around that central portion of the intrafusal fiber. And that's why it is called as annulospiral ending. That means it supplies the So in this diagram, you can see that this nuclear back fiber, these are the nerve fibers, literally wind up around the central portion. Again, same for the nuclear chain fiber, they are wind up around the central portion, non-contractile components, and that is called as group 1A fibers, annulospiral ending. Okay. And what is the function of this annulospiral ending? For the nuclear back fiber, it gives a dynamic response. Now, what is meant by dynamic response? That means this fiber or this nerve fiber gets stimulated during the initial change in the length. While static means when there is a that nerve fiber gets stimulated when there is a continuous stretch. Throughout the stretch of the muscle fiber, that fiber gets stimulated. That is a nuclear chain fiber. While nuclear back fiber give dynamic response and the nuclear chain fiber give rise to static response. Again, I will repeat, dynamic response means nuclear fiber. That means when there is a initial change in the length, during the only initial change in the length, that fiber gets stimulated. And while nuclear chain fiber gives static response throughout the muscle change, it will give rise to static response. And this response is very helpful to protect the body from the injury caused by the overstretching and it is helpful for the maintaining of the muscle tone. So if the nuclear group 1A fiber is not there, what happens? There is a sudden stretching. Because of sudden stretching, there is an injury to the muscle. So to prevent this injury, this muscle, the muscle spindle is very helpful. Okay, so you can see that the nuclear back fiber and the nuclear chain fiber, the annulospiral ending. So this is a group 1A fiber. Okay. Now next, type 2 fiber, that is also called as secondary sensory endings, innervate the receptor portion of nuclear chain fibers. That is called as secondary sensory ending, also known as flower spray ending, having a diameter of 8 micron, response to sustained stretch, therefore measure the muscle length. Okay, so that is called as type 2 fiber. Now let us see what are the motor supply or efferent to the in the motor supply, we have efferent fibers called as gamma fiber. So up till now, we have seen what is the sensory components of the nuclear back fiber and the nuclear chain fiber. The central portion is supplied by group 1A fiber, while the peripheral portion is supplied by the group 2 fiber. That is called as secondary afferent. So type 2 fibers, secondary sensory endings, innervate the receptor portion of the nuclear chain fiber on one side of the primary ending, also known as flower spray ending. Okay. And it gives response to sustained stretch of which measure the muscle length. That is called as secondary sensory ending. So in this, you can see that nuclear chain fiber, that is group 2. So what are the afferent for this nuclear back and nuclear chain fiber? One is called as group 1A and second is called as group 2 fiber. Group 1A for the central portion. Group 2 is for the nuclear chain fiber peripheral portion. Okay, that is called as on one side of the primary ending. That is called as type 2 fiber. The motor supply, that is a contractile component. Now, which, as you know, that the peripheral component is contractile components. And that's why motor supply is to the nuclear bag and nuclear chain fiber. That is contractile components of the nuclear bag and nuclear chain fiber. So efferent fibers, that is called as gamma fibers. Axon belongs to a gamma group of fibers. Control the sensitivity of the receptors to stretch. There are two types of gamma fibers. That is dynamic gamma fibers and static gamma fibers. As I have explained you that what is meant by dynamic and static. Dynamic means during the initial change in the muscle length, okay, it gives response, while static means throughout the muscle change in the muscle length, okay. So two types, there is dynamic gamma fiber and the static gamma fiber. Dynamic gamma fibers innervate the striatal poles of nuclear back fiber. As you know that dynamic response is given by the nuclear bag fiber, while the static response is given by the nuclear chain fiber. So the dynamic gamma fiber is supplied to the nuclear bag fiber, where contractile portion, that is a striated pole of the nuclear bag fibers, okay, where they end as a motor end plates, that is called as plate endings. It increases the sensitivity of the group 1A afferent fibers to stretch. That means the group A afferent fiber rate for a given velocity of stretch is increased by the discharge of dynamic gamma fibers. But when during the only initial stretch, that means it gives stimulation when there is an initial change in length of the muscle fiber, that is a dynamic gamma fibers. So this is about the dynamic gamma fiber. While static gamma fibers, as you know that it is a supplied to the nuclear chain fiber. So primarily it innervates the striated pole of the nuclear chain fiber. And what is the function of this fiber? It gives response when there's a continuous change in the muscle length. It increases the tonic activity in the group 1A afferent fibers at a given continuous throughout the muscle length. That is called as static gamma fiber. So again, I will repeat both sensory and the efferent. Sensory, we have two components, group 1A and group 2 fiber. Group 1A is to the sensory central portion, that non-contractile portion of the nuclear bag fiber and the nuclear chain fiber, while group 2 is towards the peripheral portion of the nuclear chain fiber. So these are the two group 1A and the group 2 fiber, that is sensory fiber. Now efferent, for the efferent, we are having gamma fiber, that is both static and dynamic gamma fiber. Dynamic is for the nuclear bag fiber, contractile portion of the nuclear bag fiber, plate endings. Static components, that is called as trail ending to the nuclear chain fiber, that is static components. Okay, so the afferent are group 1A and group 2, while efferent are gamma fiber static to the nuclear chain fiber, gamma fiber dynamic to the nuclear bag fiber. So remember this about the intrafusal fiber. I have described you intrafusal fiber, both afferent and efferent. Again, I will repeat afferent sensory information is by group 1A fiber, both central portion nuclear bag and nuclear chain fiber, while group 2 fiber is only for the nuclear chain fiber. Okay, while efferent contractile portion is to the static component is to the nuclear chain fiber, that is called static gamma fiber. Dynamic component is to the nuclear bag fiber, contractile portion. So this is about intrafusal fiber. And for the extrafusal fiber, we are having A alpha fiber that we are going to see in the next slides. Extrafusal fiber, that is it causes a contraction of the muscle. So the second muscle sensor is Golgi tendon organ. These Golgi tendon organs are again stretch receptor. Whenever there is a stretch in the muscle tendon, it will get stimulated. So what happens if the muscle tendon, Golgi tendon is not there? That it will not give, it will not detect the tension in the muscle, so that there may be a rupture in, there may be a tear in the muscle. So it detects the tension in the muscle, and it gives information to the spinal cord for the stretch reflex. Okay, so very important function is that it detects the muscle tension. How much muscle tension is there during the contraction and relaxation? This information is conveyed by this Golgi tendon organ. And what is the Golgi tendon? This is nothing, around the 10 to 15 muscle fibers are connected in series, which form one Golgi tendon organ. Each Golgi tendon organ consists of group of nerve endings covered by a capsule of connective tissue, and that group of nerve fiber is called as. So we can see that in the diagram, this is Golgi tendon, and this group of nerve fiber is called as 1B fiber. So what is 1A? 1A is nothing but the annular spiral ending, central portion of the nuclear bag and nuclear chain fiber, and 1B is nothing but it gives information about the muscle tension. How much is the muscle tension during contraction and relaxation? This information is given by this group 1B fiber from the Golgi tendon organ, and this information is conveyed to the spinal cord for stretch reflex. So depending on whether suppose there is an increase in the muscle tension, it will cause a relaxation of the muscle by stimulating this 1B fibers. Okay, so this is about the Golgi tendon organ. It detects the muscle tension in the muscle, that is tension in the muscle. Again, same thing. You can see that group 1B fiber from Golgi tendon organ either causes inhibition of that. If there is an increase in the muscle tension, it will cause inhibition, activate the inhibitory interneuron, so that there is a no contraction, there is a decrease in the muscle tension. So what is the function of this Golgi tendon organ? It protects the protective functions depending on whether the tension detects the tension in the muscle. Third is Pacinian corpuscles. As you know that Pacinian corpuscle detects the pressure. It is a pressure receptor. It's situated in the group of fascicles. Okay, group of muscle fibers that is called as one fascicle. Like that way, in our skeletal muscle, there are a number of fascicles are there. It is supplied by group 2 afferent fibers and detects the vibrations. That is a group 2 fibers, detects the vibration. Free nerve ending, that is a pain receptor. These are the pain receptor, and these are supplied by, as you know, that group 3 and group 4 fiber, and it detects the pain in the muscle, tendons, and joints. That is via group 3 and group 4 fibers. Free nerve ending. So, what is the function of the muscle spindle? It detects the stress reflex, helpful for the stress reflex, maintaining the muscle tone, role in maintaining the skeletal muscle at certain physiological length, and acts as a proprioceptors. So whenever you have a question on the muscle spindle, you should write about the intraphyseal fibers and extraphyseal fibers with sensory and efferent and its functions. So just to summarize of today's lecture, we have seen what is meant by motor unit. It is a single motor neuron and the muscle fiber that it innervates. What is meant by neuronal pool? All muscle fibers of one muscle supplied by that particular number of motor units. That means neural pool maybe have one motor units, two motor units, multiple motor units, okay, depending on how much neurons are supplied that particular muscle. Then we have seen what is muscle sensor. You may have a long answer question on the muscle sensor. So you should know what are the different muscle sensor that is present in the Golgi tendon organ, then muscle spindle, Pacinian corpuscle, free nerve ending. Then muscle spindle, which is made up of intraphyseal fibers and extraphyseal fibers. What is the function of the muscle spindle? What is the structure of the intraphyseal fiber? That is nuclear bag and nuclear chain fiber. What is the afferent and efferent for the extraphyseal fiber and the intraphyseal fiber? And this applied is stretch reflex. Okay, in the next lecture, we are going to see what is meant by stretch reflex. Different spinal reflex present in our spinal cord. In that, most important is what is stretch reflex, and this is helpful for the maintaining the muscle tone. So, question is, write a short note on muscle sensor. So you should write about the different muscle sensors. Thank you.